Okay. Yeah, nobody in the waiting room. Okay. So, hi guys. Um, my name is Devin. I go by Gusto on Twitter, and if you're in the Discord chat, go by Gusto. Um, Kind of just wanted to put this together based on what I've gone through over the past month in my trading, and just trying to help out the new traders that are coming along to improve, be consistently profitable, and ultimately achieve their goals in trading. So, figured I'd put together a meeting for everybody, go over a couple points for the new guys, and we can get the ball rolling for everybody. So, we still got some people coming in. So, if you see me pause for a second, I'm probably putting people in here and whatnot. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share my screen once we really get going, because I got a few points in my notes to go over with you guys. And what I would ask is, you can either take notes with a pen and paper, or if you have an iPhone or Android, whatever, use your notes app and just jot things down and go over them, and we'll try to get you where you want to be at with everything. So, but I'll start with a little backstory about me. 31 years old, been married these 6 years in August. Got 4 girls, 3 of my own, and a goddaughter. My girls are 3, 5, and 8, and my goddaughter is 16 years old. So clearly, I'm busy. Trying to take care of them and make sure that they are good. And I'm also a truck driver. I've been driving a truck for about 40 years now. Make really good money doing it. It's changed my life tremendously, honestly, from where I was when I first got married. But that kind of pushed me into trading over time. I've only been trading since the beginning of February. I always had a Robinhood account and I always invested. But I had somebody invested my money for me, automated through SoFi. But just like a lot of people with COVID trading, people wanted to jump in. Same thing with the GME squeeze, AMC, all that stuff. That's what got me into it. Started out in small cap land, started out swing trading, if you want to call it that. A lot of the times I was just buying stuff one day and selling it off a couple of days later, and I really didn't have any direction. Then discovered FinTwit, found a lot of stuff on YouTube, started watching YouTube videos and soaking in all the knowledge that I could, and figured maybe then I'd be ready. But, still no plan in place, no direction or anything. I was just throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick. Then I moved to discover Discord. I found a lot of people on FinTwit that were on Discord, whether it was Atlas or Sapphire. I was in those rooms, but I never actually interacted with anybody. I would just follow people's calls. A lot of the big names out of those 2 rooms. You got Ultra Calls, you got PJ over in Atlas, Zach Morris. Pretty much everybody over there. Hugh Henney for swing trading. Everybody. And, it worked for a little while. I think this was, I want to say March. My first big winner was SOS. I remember I got in, it was about $9. And I remember seeing it on Robinhood as one of the top stocks, one of the top gainers for the day. So I hopped in, I held it for a couple of days. I rode it up to about $15. It was just under 15, and I sold it. That was my first big win, and figured, hey, I can do this. I can get rich really fast. And then the dump came. I started out with $500. SOS got me up to about 750-ish. And then in a matter of about 2-3 weeks, lost all of the money that I gained off SOS. And I lost about 70% of my account of what I started with. I had to start rebuilding it back up. Didn't know how I was going to do that. again, still no direction, no plan. And this is what led me to MTA, Mullins Trading Academy. But I mean, I was treading water for a while prior to that. And, Mullins started the Discord, and I got in, and this is about the same time that I discovered Blaine's podcast, Penny Lane podcast. And she was a lot more relatable. I was a PGIR guy, Penny's going in raw, and I still love it. But Blaine and her team, they were a lot more relatable. They gave me a sense that, it's going to take a lot of work, but I can actually do this. So, got into Mullins Trading Academy, started trying to turn it around, started trying to focus on, if I'm going to swing trade, I want to do this the right way. It was very selective about the stocks that I would take. I was very selective about how long I would hold them. I started developing rules, but they weren't, actually in stone until very recently. One day I stumbled across a guy on Twitter, Squeezy. He's been on Blaine's podcast, and he trades options. And options trading sounded a lot more interesting to me than swinging penny stocks, because the penny market had been so dead, since the run up in January and February. And I was tired of my account bleeding. Just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Didn't want to hold overnight. Stress about any of that stuff. So I reached out to Squeezy through Twitter, spoke to him. He answered a lot of my questions, and then I became an options guy pretty much from there. We got Happy Gilmore in Mullins Trading Academy. He's another options trader. He was on Blaine's podcast. I listened to him, and pretty much at that point, I was completely sold on options. And this is when I finally started to develop a plan for trading. So, fast forward, I've been doing options for about a month, and it's been a night and day turnaround. Now, I'm not recommending everybody do options, but the purpose of me getting into that and where it's led me to, being where we are today is, why I wanted to come together and bring everybody in here to discuss, being a new trader and highs and the lows you deal with and all that stuff. So right now I am going to share my screen, and I'll bring up the points. But like I said, I just wanted to give you a little backstory on me and, why I am today. I'm still very new to this, and I'm not one of the big gurus on Twitter or anything like that. I'm just here to help everybody out. So let me pull up screen sharing, and we'll get to it. Okay. So let me go to Do Not Disturb. And you can see my girls right there, if you guys can see my screen. So, let me go back, because can somebody chime in here and make sure that you can see what I got up on my screen, so you'll know what we're talking about here?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Thank you, Blaine. So this is I just titled it the New Trader 101 session. I plan on doing multiple sessions to actually cover, get more in detail on the topics that I wanted to go over today. But here we go. We got, number one, which is what is trading, and, going down to creating a plan, how much money you want to start with, picking a strategy, crafting it, learning the chart, and actually learning how to trade the chart, and then putting it all together. So I'm going to go, just highlight a couple of those things here. And then over the next, several weeks, maybe the next couple of months, we'll get, more in detail with each portion of it. And also, my goal is, whatever strategy that you decide you want to go with, if you are an MTA, we have some excellent teachers. We have some excellent department heads, and they can all, get you on track to be profitable in whatever strategy you want to do. So we'll start off on what is trading. my definition of it, if you see right here, where it says SR, supply and demand zones, if you look at a chart and you study a chart, and once you learn how to actually read it, you'll be able to identify support and resistance or supply and demand zones. These are low points and high points in the stock to tell you when people are going to buy and people are going to sell. So let me pull up my Weevil and I will actually show you what I'm talking about here. With me being an options trader, support and resistance is actually very important because I trade off of those zones. And being new, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know how to actually identify support and resistance until Happy Gilmore and Squeezy and the rest of the options gang really showed me what I was doing. So this is my watch list for the upcoming week. So I'll just pick a good stock. I'm trying to think which ones have the best levels here. We'll go with Square. Okay. So let me flip my screen to the side. Actually, no, it looks better right here. Okay. So let me take these purple lines off here. Those are my price targets for the options. And we'll just start with a blank screen. So, okay, so you see the red and the green line here. Those are support and resistance zones. You can actually zoom out a little more and see, some wider points. So low points are going to be support. That's usually where stock will bounce at. Let's use this right here. This 195 area. That's close enough. Here, I got some. Let me let these people in here. There we go. Okay, so about the 195 area, you can see Square over the past few months has, bounced, here, let me mark the stop line too. 283.19. So you can see Square, it's made some major moves, between 195 and 283 over the past several months. I'm looking at the 1-day chart. That's usually what I use to identify my support and resistance, but we'll dive into that at a later date. But I'm just trying to show you the basics. So this high point up here looks like I think that might be, that's an all-time high. So that's going to be a major point of resistance. Down here, this purple line, let me change it to red, red, and change that to green. So this red line right here is going to be a major point of support, that 195 area. That's a good place that means that'd be a good place to buy in if you're looking to trade that. This green line up here, that's going to be a resistance line. That means that if you're at a stock, that would be a good point to look at selling it, so you can take your profit and run. But pretty much all trading is, to me personally, is identifying these points: support, resistance, trade off support, or buying support, selling resistance, buy low, sell high. That is as simple as I can make it. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but if you want to keep it as simple as possible, keep it simple, stupid: support, resistance. Now, trading is these in between support and resistance. Those are what's called tradable areas. So day traders, they can get in when the stock is right here, say it gets really good news and it runs up to this next line. They can make a profit on that. If you're a swing trader, you can get in down here on support. And if the stock gets momentum and it runs, you can run it all the way up to here, swinging it. I do options. So these two lines in the middle are my price targets, are my triggers for playing options on Square. If the stock goes above that 224.10 mark, I'm going to buy calls. If it goes below 216.50, I plan on buying puts. That's just my specific strategy, and that's how Happy Gilmore and how Squeezy and a lot of the other great teachers have showed me how to play, and it's been pretty successful this far. So, but yeah, that's support and resistance. Like I said, we'll go into that more in depth later on. But that is what I see the definition of trading is, buying on support, selling on resistance, and playing in between those two areas to make money. And I think we have some more people trying to come in here, so give me just a second. Okay. All right. So to recap that, like I said, what is trading? Buying on support, or also it could be called a supply zone. I don't really use supply and demand zones. That's a little bit more advanced than I'm willing to go to. Like I said, I like to keep it simple. So support and resistance. And tradable areas are the places in between that support and that resistance zone that you can make money off of if you don't want to ride the bigger move all the way up or all the way down. So next, I want to talk about, this is the main reason that I really wanted to put this together. And we're going to talk about creating a plan. Now, if you see this chart right here, right below creating a plan, this is, you'll see variations of it going around on Twitter or online or whatever, but this is what's called the new trader strike. Now, like I told you, if you look at that first portion where it says beginner's luck, let me circle that. Sorry, that's a horrible circle. But beginner's luck or phenomenon. That is my trade with SOS. So when I started trading on Robinhood, I was just throwing stuff at the wall. I'd make, a few dollars, lose a few dollars, nothing crazy. Like I said, my biggest winner was SOS by far. And what that did was it gave me a sense of euphoria, and I'd probably say recency bias, or something to that effect, to where I really felt like I mastered the market in a matter of a single month. And boy, I was wrong. If you saw my thread on Twitter this morning, I pretty much gave a breakdown of my journey. Started out with SOS, and then I got into small cap bio stocks. I might have put the ticker on there wrong on Twitter, but I can't remember the exact name. But I got into a small cap bio stock, and I went heavy. I literally pretty much threw my entire account at it. And literally a couple of days later, there was an offer and dropped. Now, Robinhood isn't the best source for news or anything. So I wasn't able to see why, what the offering was about or anything. I started doing some research, doing some Googling, and come to find out an offering is pretty much a dilution of the stock. And by the time I figured out what that actually was, the stock I was down 35% on that trade. And I did what everybody else does when they're new, when they don't understand support and resistance, or they don't understand offerings or different types of PR terminology. I panic sold, and right after I panic sold, I jumped into another ticker and sold that off and got into another one, and it became a cycle. So pretty much went from SOS, and I rode that right on down. Loss of confidence and money. And when you get into that place and you don't have the correct resources or the right people around teaching you, you pretty much, you can continue losing money. You can blow up your account, honestly. But I eventually got to a point where I got down, like I said, I was down 70% of my account. And then I started, treading water, that consolidation of skills. Now, we're not going to say break even yet. We can take that part out. That's further up here. But, this is around the time that MTA comes around. I find out about the Penny Lane Pod. I find out about Squeezy. I find out about Happy Gilmore. And then once you get an MTA, there's so many great people in there. We got Mello Yellow and the Swings. We got Broda. We got Callum in there. James LaFaith in the Momentum Room. And then we got the big dog himself. We got Brad Mullins Momentum, formerly known as AC Slater in Atlas. And there's some beasts. And it wasn't like, in other rooms I've been in, or other things on FinTwit that I've seen, they kept it real. They weren't showing off nice cars, or nice houses or jewelry and all of these material things. They were literally focused on making the money. And that's when I discovered that that was the place that I needed to be if I really wanted to learn and be profitable. So, like I said, I'm in the consolidation phase. And then, like I said, about a month ago, it started in the beginning of May. That's when I found a strategy that worked for me, which was options. And then I started to learn how to actually create a trading plan. And as I create this plan, this is how I define a trading plan. It's going to be a strategy, it's going to be rules, and it's going to be a why. I do that. I start to craft that, and I'm still working on it now. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it suits me for right now with where my account is and with what my situation is. I work full time. I'm a dad. I'm a husband, but I'm also trading. So you take all that into consideration. My plan has to work for me. So I want you guys to remember, in creating a plan, the plan has to work for you. If you can't trade full time from home and you have to work, you have to think about that. And I'll show you my rules as well, so you can kind of get a template. For people who do work full time, you can get a template and have a nice, decent starting point. And I've had some really good people. I didn't just come up with these on my own. These are rules that I adopted, from my point of view, and also a lot of really good feedback. So, but yeah, I adopt my trading plan, and this is where my break-even phase comes in at, in the course of getting this trading plan. Now, I'm not going to say I'm all the way up here yet, but I know in time, as long as I follow my rules and I follow my strategy, I will be. So I guess we'll start with strategy first. We'll go and move on to this. So the way I see it, there's pretty much two different types of strategies you can have. You can be a day trader. You can be a swing trader. I'm more of a day trader, but I don't actually trade shares. I trade options, but I'm still technically a day trader. Day trading is fine if you have the time to actually put into it. It's kind of weird for me because, yes, I work full time, but I'm also a truck driver. I drive a ready-mix truck, so I'm not always driving, and I'm not always on the road. I'd probably say 30% of my day is spent driving. 30% of it is spent at a job, and then the other 40% I'm sitting at the plant waiting for a load to come in, and that's when I get my time in to do my trading. And also, I take time like this on the weekend to actually prepare. I spent most of Friday night and a lot of yesterday, Saturday, charting. I charted about 50, 55 takers, and then came down to 10 takers to watch for the upcoming weekend. And ultimately, I'm going to narrow those down to 5, and you'll know why when you see my rules. But like I said, you got to find a strategy that works for you. If you don't have the luxury to be able to sit on your phone when you're at work, maybe swing trading will be good. If you can put the effort in and you have the discipline, day trading works too. Money is money. It doesn't matter how you make it. The point is not to lose it or to minimize those losses. So actually, I'm going to stop here. I want to see if there's any recurring questions in the chat. You guys can drop questions in the chat if you want to. So let me back out. I just want to make sure I'm not getting too far ahead. So yeah, if you guys got any questions, just drop them in the chat and I can start to knock them down as we go. So that way we're not getting flooded with them at the end. Okay. So Penny, Blaine, we'll start with you. Do you trade on Robinhood or Webull? I trade on Webull now. Like I said, I started out on Robinhood like everybody else does. It was fine for what it was. I had opened a Robinhood account last year pre-COVID, but never, like I said, never actually traded. My investing, and I still do my investing in my IRA on SoFi. They were the broker that handled my money. But like I said, started out on Robinhood. They had a margin account. With margin accounts, you can't day trade. You have to day trade with a cash account. So ultimately, I ended up leaving and going over to Webull because cash account worked better for me there. Better charting, better news. It was just overall better platform. I'm actually thinking right now about making a switch to TD Ameritrade to Thinkorswim, but Webull. We'll go on and get into it here. Let's take a look at Webull. This entire platform it's beautiful. Everything, the charts. Sorry, those are all my support lines for SPY. So don't pay those any attention. There's Blaine's favorite stock, CCL. The platform is gorgeous. But then you go to Thinkorswim, which is TD Ameritrade's platform, and I always say,
I'm not seeing your screen.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me. I forgot to put screen sharing back on. Give me just a second. Share content screen. Okay, it should be coming back up. Sorry, when I went back to go into the questions, it knocked it off. So there we go. Okay. So here's Webull. There is Blaine's favorite stock, CCL, which I plan on playing this week. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, the charting tools they're great. There's some things about Webull that I wish that I wish was on there that's not, which is making me want to switch to TD Ameritrade. But it's just the platform is beautiful. The most check stocks by volume, check by the gainers. They have a lot of detailed information on here. They got crypto in here, everything. TD Ameritrade has a lot of the tools as an options trader that I would like, but I always say, I've been saying it all weekend, it looks like Windows 95. Look, that looks disgusting. And this is no hate to people who trade on TD Ameritrade. I'm not a fan of it, but I may have to come to learn to like it. But anyway, yeah. Right now I trade on Webull. So I highly recommend the platform. Full pre-market and after hours trading, everything. So let me go back here. What would you say is your most important rule? I will actually answer that when I go into the rule section. I actually got a couple of them, and I had one that I had to add this week to save myself from losing some money in the beginning of the day. So, let's see, from Josh. Sorry if it's obvious. Okay, so Josh asks, when I'm identifying support and resistance, do I always use the daily? For the most part, yes, because on the daily chart, support and resistance is usually strongest. The further you go out, if you go daily or weekly, those are usually strong points. But we'll dig a lot more into that in the next session. I'm really going to talk about charting, and that's my first goal for the next session. And I got a couple of guys who can really help me with that. From JC, what is the podcast you were mentioning? It is called the Penny Lane Podcast. It is by Blaine, who is actually co-hosting this with me. She really helped put all this together. Blaine, you want to throw a plug in there for the pod?
I dropped a link right below that. I'd love you guys to check it out. Yep, we do a lot of trading interviews and then go over the market every week. So join us anytime.
Yes, and as I said, she is very relatable. Like I said, I'm still a PGIR fan, but I feel like those guys right now are out of my league. I can relate most closely to Blaine than any other podcast I've listened to, and it's really motivating. She is not shy about talking about her highs and her lows in her trading journey, and like I said, I can relate to that. Happy Gilmore, he said a quote in his podcast episode, and he was like, never trust anybody who's who doesn't show their losses, and she's one to not, she doesn't shy away from that. So I'd recommend. She's my favorite podcast by far out of everything, not just trading your finance. She's number one. Israel Cross, do you trade along with resources like unusual wells or dark pools? I keep tabs on that information sometimes, but mainly I'm just trading the chart. Like I said, I'm just trying to keep it simple, support and resistance. If I see something come across on Twitter or anything like that, I may take into account. Like, it's, for example, AMC on Thursday. There were a lot of dark prints, and the dark print is pretty much big institutional investors who buy shares of stock off the exchange on a private exchange, so it doesn't affect stock price. But there were a number of dark prints coming through on AMC, and I was in it. I got in on Thursday, it bounced off 22 a couple times, and I bought a call for it, and it ran 29.70, I think. It had 29.70 and it knifed, but I sold out right there on that first flush, and I got a nice win off of that. So it made my month, that one trade. And so, but yeah, I got some information about a dark print come across Twitter that I saw. So yeah, I'll get one more question and then we'll get it going again. I'm an owner operator. This is from Rob H.A. I'm an owner operator, local in the New Jersey, New York area. Okay, this isn't a question. He's just making a statement. So, but he says, awesome to hear you can make it work trading and driving. It can be done. That's all I can say about that. You got to put the time in, but it can be done. So here's one more. Do you use Webull desktop or app for trading? How do you get in and out of options trades quickly, given Webull's tedious options order flow? I use the mobile app because I am at work. So I do all my trading off my phone. And as far as getting in and out quickly, as long as I chart my levels correctly, like I say, using the daily chart, and they break, and as long as I follow my rules in the trade, I have no problem buying the ask and selling the bid. It's usually only a $2 difference. I don't play things with a wide spread, so a $2 difference, I'm not gonna miss $2 if I hit 50, 60% on a trade, or even 20%. I don't care. $2 isn't gonna be a big deal. So what works for me, buy the ask, sell the bid. I'll market order in, I'll market order out, and move on to the next trade. So, all right, we'll go back to those here shortly. I don't want to keep you guys here all day. So, here, let me reshare my screen, and then I'll go over my rules with you guys. Okay, back to the minutes. Okay, so we talked about strategy. You can either be a day trader or a swing trader. And after we're done with this, you guys can reach out to me. I'll put my Twitter handle out, or if you're in Mullins Trading Academy, if you just joined or whatever, whatever strategy you're looking to do, just reach out to me or hop into the trading floor on Mullins Trading Academy, and I'll find you. And we can get you pointed in the right direction. If you're having problems with, losing money, or your account's pretty much just going up and down, the chart's going up and down, you're making money and then losing it, and can't stay profitable, we got some really great people who can help. And like I said, I can attest to that because they helped me. So, but here, let me go back. We'll talk about the rules. Here's my trading plan. So there's my strategy. Pretty in depth, but pretty much just scalping and swinging weekly options, using support and resistance triggers to enter a trade. And I literally have my entire routine marked down, with what I do. Looking for tickers on Sundays and intra-week, making sure there's enough volume on the option, on the specific ticker, which, open interest is the number of contracts open. Charting triggers to the cent, because I've learned, the people who control the market makers, they are to the cent accurate in how they move the stock up and down throughout the day. Setting alerts. I set alerts right below or right above my trigger points, whether I'm going long or short. And that's because I work, so I don't, while I can look at my phone, I don't have the luxury to stare at the screen all day. And then the rest of it just talks about how I enter the trade and, what I'm looking for as far as the gain, if I'm going to stay in it short, if I'm going to overnight it or whatever. But here's the meat and potatoes here, the rules. So these are, like I said, these are my rules. You can take them as a template. If you want to screenshot them and look at them later, it doesn't matter to me. They're very basic, but they take into account the fact that I do work full time. They take into account my strategy, and they take into account my goal as far as what I'm looking for in trading. But I'll just run over them real quick. I look over a number of tickers. Like I said, I looked over at about 60 tickers this weekend. Narrowed it down to 10, and I'm going to narrow it down to 5 by Tuesday morning. I don't keep more than 5 tickers on my list. More than that is too much for me to keep up with while I'm working. Even with alerts set, I feel like I'll be chasing stuff, and it's not worth it. So I will not make more than 3 trades a day. I feel like 3 is a good number for me with working. It avoids me over trading. It avoids me revenge trading, everything. And this is the one I was talking about, number 3, that I just added. I will not trade before 10 a.m. The market is really volatile in those periods. I've made money before 10 o'clock. I've lost money before 10 o'clock. To me, right now, it just doesn't seem worth it to trade before 10 because there's really not a trend developed, that's going to carry it through the day. Number 4, big one. This is actually the most important rule. The person who asked me, what's your most important rule? Number 4, I will not chase. I have done it. I have chased alerts on Twitter. I've chased alerts on Discord, just like everybody else has. And now that I am at the point where I can create my own plays and I don't have to rely, on anybody else to find a stock for me and make my own money, I will not chase. I don't care if it's somebody else's alert that I might like. I don't care if it's my own. If it breaks my rule, I will not chase it. Number 5, I will trust the chart. The chart doesn't lie. What that is basically saying is, with the way I trading off support and resistance, I will trust based on the history of the chart and history of the stock in general, and just probability. You're playing a probability game here. That one thing is more likely to happen over another. I'm not getting emotional about it. I'm not getting excited if it happens. I'm not getting sad if it doesn't happen. I'm pretty much trading the chart. And if the chart tells me to make a move, I will make a move. If the chart tells me to hold off, I will sit on my hands. Because like Blaine always said, she said it really more so recently, cash is a position. If it's better for you to sit on your hands than to get into a bad trade, that is perfectly fine. Number 6, I will wait for confirmation before entry. My confirmation on my trades is support and resistance. If I'm looking to go long on it, I want to see it break resistance and hold. If I want to, go short on it, I'm looking to see it break down through support and hold below support, and then I will enter the trade. Number 7, actually, you know what? We're gonna say I got a 1 and a 1A as far as my most important rules. Number 7, I will not look at my P&L. And with me saying that, I won't look while I'm in a trade. I will not see how much I'm up. I will not see how much I'm down. I'm literally trusting the chart. I know where I'm going to cut as far as the stop loss goes. I know where I plan to cut as far as profit goes. I'm not gonna let a winning trade turn into a losing trade. And if a loser's a loser, I can go in and jump to number 9. I will accept the winner and I will accept the loser. Number 8, we'll bounce back to that. I will honor my stop loss rules. Basically, the way that I trade, I take my entire account balance and I split it up into thirds. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to trade with all of it, but that is what I have in place. You know, the amount that I'll throw into a trade is based on the conviction that I have in that move, and what the chart tells me. But I split my account into thirds. I will put a third of my account into one of those 3 trades per day. If I do 2 trades, I'll do another third. If I do a third trade, I'll do the final third of my account. But my stop loss is always at 15%. I will not accept more than a 15% loss on a trade. I will cut it and I will walk away. And that also takes into account what my goal is as far as on the winning side. I'm usually looking for a 20% gain on the trade. It's a good number. It's not greedy. You know, obviously, you know, I've had trades that have ran 200-300%, and that's fine. I move my stop loss up as I go to lock in profit as the trade goes in my favor. But if the trade goes sideways, I'm getting out for 50% loss. I can sleep with that at night. That's not going to kill my account. And then finally, number 10, I will accept when to walk away. Whether I have a big winner or a big loser, I will accept when to walk away. And I got my boy Squeezy to thank for that. He said it on the podcast and a few weeks ago, and literally 2 days after he said it, I hit a 300%er. And I was so excited. I wanted to get into another trade. I'm like, oh, I can make some more money. And I can keep this hot streak going. And there's a such thing as the hot hand fallacy, where I make 300% on the trade and I can lose all of that on the very next trade because I'm trading with emotion. So after I hit that win on that trade, I turned my screen off on my phone for 30 minutes and I drove to a job, and I simply enjoyed driving to the job. Didn't touch Weeble, didn't touch Twitter, didn't touch Discord, nothing. Just turn my screen off and listen to music on my way to the job. Came back to the screen about 30 minutes later, shouted Squeezy out for throwing that quote out in the podcast, and I was good for the rest of the day. I didn't take another trade. Now, without these rules being in place, that wouldn't have happened. I probably would have given all of those gains back, if not more. So if you don't take anything away from this first session, the most important thing I can say to you is have rules. Like I say, you can take mine and create a template, you can create your own. I personally don't care. Your rules are your rules. Just have them. You can't have a trading plan without rules. Okay, so number 3 on creating a plan is the why. This is the most important thing. I know you have to have a strategy to make money. I know you have to have rules in place within your strategy to make money. The why is the most important thing, though. Like I said, I'm married. I have been married, it'll be 6 years in August. I have 4 girls, and my girls and my wife want a really good life, and I want a really good life for them. They are my why. I'm not worried about having a nice car. It's not about the big house or anything like that. It is about why I want those things. It is for my wife and my kids. I get my enjoyment out of simply providing that to them. I don't need anything extra. So let's say you have to have a why. You're not going to succeed in this game without a why. If you just focus on the money, and when I say having a why, it can't be a nice car. It can't be a nice house. It can't be a private jet. It can't be any of that. Your why has to be why you want those things. Your why has to be what it's going to take to get there. That's what you need to focus on, in my opinion. What is it going to take to get there? Don't focus on the material items. Focus on the work you have to put in. Don't focus on the destination. Focus on the journey and enjoy the journey. So that's it as far as creating a plan. In my opinion, a plan is a strategy with rules, and you have to have a why behind it. It has to be intentional. Okay, so number 4. This is a question that Blaine threw out, and I know a lot of you guys may have the same question. How much money should you start with? Simple answer, start small. And start only, with what you can afford to lose. But that is very subjective, because what I can afford to lose may be a lot different than what you can afford to lose. Like I said, I started trading with $500 because I was not willing to risk more than that and screw up my life in other areas to make this work. If I figured, I'd start small, and over time I'd either add money as I went, or I'd get to a point where I'd be profitable and successful where I wouldn't need to add money. But I would really recommend starting small. Blaine said it on her podcast a few weeks ago. If you can't start small and build it up, you shouldn't be doing this, because this will become a burden on your life. Money is the biggest stressor that anybody has in life, honestly. And to unnecessarily lose money, not because of debt or because of health issues or anything like that, but because of something you voluntarily chose to do and you blew that money, that could send you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to be in. It breaks up families, it breaks up marriages, all of that. So my personal recommendation, I don't care if you got $1 million in your bank account, start with no more than 1,000. If you can make $1,000 work, you can make $100,000 work. But the point is, start small, get that strategy, get those rules, get that why, get that plan together, and then you can size up from there. Depending on what kind of strategy you want to go with, if you want to day trade or swing trade, I know people have some differing opinions. As far as how much you start with, the amount that you put in, the amount of your account that you put in per trade and all that. I will let you come to your own decision on that. I am, as far as risk goes, me putting in a third of my account into a trade does sound pretty crazy. But at the same time, the way I have all of my numbers calculated, I'm not going to take a major hit, even if I have 3 losing trades at 15% in a day. It's not going to be major, and it's something that I can personally deal with. So here, before we move on, let me see if you got some more questions. How do you find your plays? Oh, Boba Fett. With me trading options, I trade large cap. I don't do small cap stocks anymore. I haven't looked at a small cap in weeks. I did take a quick day trade on Friday just to have a little fun with the trading floor. I think that was on LEDs. LEDS was the ticker, and I think I scalped like 12% on it. But yeah, I trade large cap options, and I usually focus on the S&P 500 and SPY, and more specifically the sectors. So here, let me share my screen with you one more time. Hey Fergie checking in. Here, let me share my screen with you one more time, and I can show you what I'm talking about as far as sectors. Okay, so let's pull Weevil back up. All right, so finding plays. If you trade options, if you want to do the options thing, I would focus on stocks that are within the S&P 500 and within SPY specifically, which is the most traded ETF in the world. It's the ETF that mirrors the S&P 500. So I started off with SPY. And if you this took a lot of research, but I'm like kind of an information nerd. So I dug into, okay, well, what is an ETF? It is a group of companies within a fund, and it's weighted. Some stocks hold more weight than others. Some stocks hold less weight than others. It just depends. But pretty much jump into the SPY ETF, and then I started trying to figure out, okay, what are the sectors? So you have actually, I'll pull it up on the side right here. There's 11 sectors in the S&P 500, and they vary based on industry. You have a technology sector, you have healthcare, consumer discretionary, which is the simplest way to put it is non-essential items. So like a Target or something like that would be in there. They do sell essentials, but they also sell non-essentials. Let me see who else is in there. Best Buy, people who sell cars, people who sell, luxury items that aren't necessities on a daily basis. And then I got some stocks in here that I just threw in here because they sound like they were in that sector. So, but yeah, pretty much you just start with the different sectors. You got communications. Zoom is in there. Facebook is in there. Twitter's there. Viacom, your TV networks, your social media platforms. DoorDash is in there because it is a communication service between you and somebody delivering your food to you. But what I did, I looked at all the sectors. I looked at the top tickers in those sectors, and I just created a watch list out of them. And I literally just trade off of these every week. Pretty simple. I don't have to go out and find a new company. I don't have to chase news, anything like that. What I'm looking at is support and resistance. And so I'm going through these charts and I'm looking and I see if something is close to support or if something is close to resistance, I'll start marking levels for it and I'll put it right here on this list. I'll set my alerts and I wait. If my alert triggers, I'll look at getting in the trade. If it doesn't trigger, I won't trade that day. It's perfectly fine with me. But yeah, that's how I found my stocks. Like I said, started out with the sectors, created a watch list from the most heavily held stocks within each sector. So here, let me check the waiting room. Okay, so we got, let's see what other questions we have. Blaine, this one's for you. Can Android users access your podcast? Spotify, that's one. I do know, her podcast is on Spotify. So, see, last question I got here. Do you use moving averages from Victor P? I sometimes keep them up on the chart. I don't always use them. They are good points to mark support and resistance sometimes, but I'm mainly focused on the daily chart to give me my support and resistance. Intraday, I do use moving averages. I use the 8 and the 21 EMA, and I use VWAP when I'm trying to enter a trade or exit trade. I do use them on an intraday basis, but as far as charting levels for me personally, I do not. I know they are beneficial and critical in certain strategies, but in the option strategy, I haven't really found that they have a huge impact, except for during the day. So let me pull my screen sharing back up. We got a couple more points to go over that I wanted to go over with you. Okay, so picking a strategy. We kind of already discussed this. I mean, I'm sure you guys already got in mind what you would like to trade. If you're not already trading it, you probably just want to improve on it. So, as far as picking a strategy goes, you got small cap stocks, you got large and mid cap stocks. You got day trade, you got swing trade. Just whatever strategy works for you is fine. Like I said, once you have that in mind, come into the Discord, get active with us, and like I said, reach out to the department heads. There's a department head for each type of trade, whether you're momentum trading, you're a regular day trader, whether you want to swing trade or if you want to do options. We got people for each category, and we also have educators for each category. So that's pretty simple there. Same with crafting the strategy. Taking your rules, all that, just putting the work in on it. It's the same thing. If you need any help or anything with crafting that strategy, I can, as far as options go, I'm still relatively new at it, but I do feel comfortable enough being able to help people with charting, with, how to enter a trade, how to exit a trade, coming up with your rules and all of that. Like I said, if you want to reach out to me, I can help you. We got Happy Gilmore in the options room at Mullins Trading Academy. He has been a great teacher and a mentor for me. We have Ed Squeezy on Twitter, another guy who has been a huge help to me. And then my other buddy, his name is Zach Straits, another excellent guy that has done wonders for me over this past month as far as building my confidence and helping me take the options trading strategy that they all have and turn it into my own. Okay, number 7, learning the chart and technical analysis. We already kind of went over this when we went into the support and resistance portion at the beginning. But that is going to be one thing that you really want to focus on, is learning how to chart. That's going to be the most important thing. I can tell you in the beginning, when I was swing trading, I didn't know what bottom support, selling resistance meant. If I saw a stock and I wanted to get in, if somebody called it out or whatever, if it showed up on the top gainers list during the day, I just buy it right there. and that's the easiest way to lose money. You don't know what direction the stock is going in, whether it's on an uptrend, whether it's on a downtrend, nothing. So the biggest key outside of creating your strategy or creating your plan and everything, the biggest key to being successful is learning the chart. News affects stocks if you're a swing trader. News affects it as a day trader. There's other factors that go in, but ultimately the chart is going to tell you what you need to know as far as buying and selling, and it's going to be the difference between you making money and losing money. So once we get to a point, I'm probably going to separate these into 2 or 3 points over the next few sessions. And like I said, I got some people in MTA that are willing to really break down all of these sections a little more in depth than I can. I have some knowledge and some expertise on it, but ultimately my goal is to just help get you in the mindset of wanting to be successful and the mindset you need to be in to be successful as a new trader. Once we start to get out of my wheelhouse, I got some guys that are more than willing to take over and get you where you need to be at. But lastly, just putting all of this together, like I said, the strategy. Obviously we know what trading is. You can go more in depth and learning about support and resistance and whatnot, but putting all this together, starting with creating a plan. You got your strategy, you got your rules, you got your why. How much should you start with? Start small. I don't care what kind of trading you do, start small and size in small as you learn your strategy and you learn how your rules affect your trading. And like I said, only go with what you can afford to lose. Don't be taking money away from your kids or from other, more pressing things, from your family, whatever it is. Don't allow that money to go into this and you end up losing it. And it jacks up your life because the market's always going to be here. If you got more important things to take care of, those things are a priority. You can always come back to this. So yeah, how much should you start with? Like I said, keep it small, only what you can afford to lose. And then picking your strategy. Like I said, you guys probably already have in mind what kind of strategy you want to do. You can reach out to Blaine. You can reach out to, there's a gentleman, Callum. We got Broda. We got Happy Gilmore. We got James LaFaith. We got Ace. So many people. Brad Mullins, the head of the Discord. he is just as easy to get in contact with as everybody else. So pick your strategy, and whatever strategy you go with, find the people, whichever room, find them, reach out to them, pick their brains. Don't just follow their calls, learn why they're taking the call. And then you can be the one calling your own stuff out and making your own money. And it is so much more satisfying to make money off of your own trade than somebody else's. And lastly, learning to chart. Like I said, I'm gonna do a nice, I'll probably pre-record it. And then we'll just answer questions in the Discord or on Twitter, because I think that's gonna be a nice lengthy session. But learning to chart and technical analysis. Everything runs off technicals. Yes, you have fundamentals. You have, how much company makes, and what their revenue is, and how much, the cash burn rate, their expected growth year over year. You got all that. But that, honestly, the most important factor on that chart is the technicals, the support and resistance. Where are people willing to buy? Where are people willing to sell? You learn that, and I guarantee you will be successful. It won't happen right away, but you will start to see that bell curve to where, again, you break even, you adopt your plan, and those exponential profits will come. Adjustment of earnings to goals and risk profile, I'm not getting into that yet. I'm not there yet. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But like I said, create your plan, learn the chart. And once you learn the chart, you will see you're still going to have losses. Nobody ever not loses. You're always going to have a red day. Sometimes you might have a red week. But as long as you follow your rules and you are confident in your strategy and your rules, you will bounce back. So, but yeah, that is pretty much all I have for today. Went a little longer than I wanted to, but I get kind of talky when I get excited about stuff. I can keep going on and on about it. But let me go back here and double check and make sure we don't have any last minute questions. Okay. Yeah, yes, Blaine answered that. Yeah, we have people in voice chat during the day all the time. So Victor P, can you explain why CCO is your play of the week? It's one of them. And here this is actually a really good question, because I can kind of give you a better description of what I'm talking about when I say support and resistance. So let me share my screen one more time. And we'll go back to Weevil. Okay, so I got CCO actually second on my list. So here is the chart. As you can see, let's find COVID. Here we go. COVID killed it. COVID killed everything. And obviously the reopening plays, they were, here, let me go out to the 1 week chart. This will be a little easier to see. So see that nice red candle right there? That big huge gap. COVID killed it. And ever since then, it's been on a slow, steady grind. It's gone up, it's gone down. But overall, it's making higher highs and higher lows. Now, the reason it is one of my plays of the week, and Blaine can speak to this, what are we going to be doing very soon, Blaine?
I think it's going to break out because it's finally broken above 30 and held it. That's my thoughts.
And yeah, that's it. But what are people going to be doing here over like the next month or so with everything reopening?
Oh, people are cruising.
Yes. So I that is one of the reasons. Obviously, the chart speaks for itself. It's gonna make its way back to pre-COVID levels. I mean, look at it's high before it finally died down. 50, just under $52 a share. Now, right now, sitting just below 30. Once we get the news that Royal Caribbean, RCO is the ticker, they got approval. I think it was Thursday night to do their first test cruise. CCL is going to be a sympathy play off of that, but I mean, obviously they're their own company. Once we actually really get cruising, they're going to take off. So I've actually played them a few times over the past couple of weeks, and Blaine was the one that got me to do it. So they're going to stay on my list until they fully break out.
Also, this is the third time it's tested 30 since March. And so it breaking above 30 and holding a little bit on Friday, I think was huge.
It's looks like it closed at 29.56, but I mean it's still sitting on a good level. But it's sitting. It's a perfect storm pretty much. All we need is one little piece of news, and this thing is gonna fly. It's gonna go. So that is why CCL specifically is on my list. If you follow me on Twitter, I kind of started this last weekend. Any stocks that actually make my watch list, I will put a list out. Just kind of breaking down the charts on Twitter and why I'm bullish, why I'm bearish, whatever. But yeah, specifically, like I said, CCL, that is my thesis behind them. It's a nice reopening play, and like Blaine said, people are going to want cruise. So let me see if we got anything else. Oh, bro, I'm playing CCL to 41. Yep, and after Memorial Day. All right, so yeah, it doesn't look like we have any. Oh, there's one. Let me try supporting resistance to use the Wicks or candle bodies. Okay. So he asked when I'm charting support and resistance, do I use the Wicks or the candle bodies? This is kind of I'm gonna contradict myself here. I usually use when I'm looking for a bounce point, I'm usually looking for a whole psychological number, and it's usually like in 25-cent increments. So, say a stock is $30, I'm looking for 30.25, 30.50, 30.75, 31, blah, blah, blah. But where I'm at right now, I'm not, a master of charting. So usually I'll start with the Wicks, and then I'll go back and look left on the chart, look further back. 9 times out of 10, if I use a wick, it's going to line up with the candle body, most likely, whether it's a support point or a resistance point. If I put it on a wick, if I go back and look left on the chart, I'm probably going to find a candle body on it, or I'm going to find multiple wicks that have bounced off of that point. And I'm usually pretty comfortable with that. And like I said, I usually try to be to the cent on these things. So if there's a bounce, say resistance is 30.50. But there's a bottom wick at 30.41, just below it. Or sorry, support. Say there's a support point at 30.50, but the bottom of the candle wick is at 30.41. I will mark 30.41 because there's a high likelihood that stock's going to hit 30.50 and it might bounce right back off. But I'm leaving my wiggle room and I'm going to the cent because the market makers, the people who control the market, go to the cent. And I'm not playing it until it crosses that number and it holds over or under that number. But yeah, again, to answer your question, sometimes it's candle wicks, sometimes it's candle bodies, but ultimately you just want to look left on the chart and see. You want to see multiple, cracks at that support and that resistance. And if you're doing it on the daily chart and you're seeing multiple cracks, that means it's either a strong resistance or it's a strong support. So if it breaks out or if it breaks down out of that, you're in a good play. So, we got any more questions here? Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else. So, yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Yeah. Oh, why am I so cool? I don't know, man. I got it from my dad, Callum. My dad's the coolest guy I know. I'm 31. He's 52 years old. And he still acts like he's my age. Coolest dude ever. So if I can be half the guy he is, then I'm doing something right. So, and thank you, man. So what I'm gonna do, if you want to go over to the chat, I am going to drop my Twitter handle in here. If you want to follow me, or hit, ask me questions in the DM, or find me in the Discord. It's just Gusto, literally Gusto. a lot of people, they see Charlie Murphy. It's Charlie Murphy in the Avatar. It's an old movie from when I was younger. Chris Rock, Charlie Murphy. It was kind of a parody of NWA, and it's one of my favorite Charlie Murphy movies ever. So I figured, yep, CB4. I figured, Charlie Murphy. That's my favorite movie of his. He passed a few years ago, so let me just go with Gusto as my name. So, but like I said, I'm a real person. I have no problem with my identity being out there. Like I said, my name's Devin. I don't care if you know me. I'm not gonna, try to hide from a camera or anything like that. So, but yeah, DevTrace21. That's my Twitter handle. If you want to follow me on there, my DMs are always open. I'm not too big to avoid anybody. If I can help you with anything, I'll do it. If I can't help you, but I know somebody who can, I'll get you where you need to be at. So, but yeah, I look forward to doing this again here soon in the next couple of weeks and try to really hammer down on, more specifically on some of these points so we all can make some money. Did you have anything else, Blaine?
No, I wanted to thank you. I put a link to your Twitter in the chat. Thank you so much for doing this. I learned so much. This was wonderful. I hope you'll do it again.
Oh, I will. Thanks. I want to do a few sessions over the next few weeks and really hammer it down. And then, as I start to learn more things, I can throw them out there.
Cool.
I'm not going to be selling this information. This is all free.
CCL for the win. I love it. CCL love. I've been screaming about it for weeks.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, MTA is starting a YouTube channel, and I think this will be the first thing we post. So if you guys found this helpful, please share the link. And Callum and I are going to work on that the rest of the day, and we'll get it out there. So like it, share it. Let's get it going.
And somebody wanted to say hi.
Aww.
Oh. You've been hiding. You've been hidden for the last hour.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming.
Yes, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I was nervous, but this was a really good start. So
you did great.
I would thank you, Blaine.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good rest of your day.
Okay.